Freedom Vans, and today our van tour is going to look a little bit different than usual. Today we are in Sedona, Arizona, where Hannah and I are both snowbirding for the month of January, and it just happened to be that we both were in the same location at the same time and thought that it would be fun to do a video for you all. Today's tour is a tour of mine and Tom's personal van. So this is a van that is not brand new, just hit the streets, but rather a van that has been well loved for the last 6 years. It's a van that was built out before we even started Freedom Vans. We have a 2007 Mercedes Sprinter 170. This van has almost 400,000 miles on it. I want to say we're at like 396.
390 something thousand.
Yeah.
So
it was 393 last time I looked. And we put some miles on this trip. So we're almost at 400,000 miles. In the last 2 years, we actually have not had any big repairs that needed to be done on the van, knock on wood. That's not wood, knock on wood. And previous to that, we've probably put anywhere from $600 to $2,000 in repairs, just repairing like normal maintenance things like the serpentine belt. Tom can go into detail about the mechanics we've had, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But overall, this van drives like a champ. It is two-wheel drive, and here we are on this beautiful Forest Service road. We take it to the mountains, we take it snowboarding. We definitely would love to have all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive one day, but we kind of want to see like how far we can take this van, how long it's gonna last. We're just so amazed at what a quality van it's been for how high mileage it is. We are really excited to do this tour today because our van is going to change in a few months. I am almost 23 weeks pregnant, which is the 6-month mark for pregnancy. So I'll be about 6 months pregnant on Sunday, which is in 4 days. It's van life. I don't even know what day it is. I think it's Thursday. So we are gonna have to modify our van for our little one that is coming in May. And I'd love to hear your feedback on what your suggestions would be to do so. We have some ideas and we'll talk about them in the tour. Our layout is a little bit different from the layouts that we typically do in our builds. We have a lot of gear storage and garage space in this van, which actually has served us very well. This van has gone through so many different periods of our life in the last 6 years. It was actually really built out to be Tom's bachelor pad. He built it around the storage of his dirt bike, and so it is 7 feet living space and 7 feet garage space. Although the bed does cut into that 7 feet of garage space as well. It was Tom's bachelor pad. Then I moved in with Cleo. It's been our second home to go to all of Tom's mountain bike races when he was actively racing mountain bikes. It was our home. I lived in it for 3 years, Tom even longer. Tom lived nomadically for 10 years, and this was kind of his final stage of nomadic living. He's done the pop-up trailer, the truck camper. This is actually his second van, and so he put a lot of thought into how this would work for his needs, and I'm excited for him to go more into detail on that with you. But for me, moving into the van was just such a great start to our life and allowed us to do so many things, really start Freedom Vans, buy our first home. It was a safe, stable environment for our dogs. Renting with dogs is always really a big struggle, and they just love it. So I'm super stoked to show you what we've done with it.
it's Tom here. I'm out in the desert with my Sprinter van, and I wanted to walk you guys through a little bit of the concept of why I ended up with this vehicle and how it's worked out for me. We're out here in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, and for the first time ever, we're kind of living here, which is definitely a little bit different pace from what I have previously done here, because I've been here before with my 4-wheel drive Toyota Tacoma. That was a great vehicle because we could like really rally some really intense roads. And now we're here with the 2-wheel drive Sprinter van. So it's a little bit of a different scenario. That 4-wheel drive Tacoma was great, but I didn't like the fact that it didn't have any interior space. So I moved on from that to a van, which for me, what I could afford was a mid-90s Ford van, and that was great. But I needed more space, so I ended up picking this up. When I test drove this vehicle for the first time, I knew it was a keeper, and I'd love to show you guys a little bit about what makes this platform so special, and I'd like to take you guys inside right now. When I first got into this vehicle, after I drove 7 hours to view it, I jumped in and we started it up and I drove down the road, and immediately the first thing that I noticed was how direct the steering was. It had 323,000 miles on it at the time, and to my bewilderment, the steering was the most accurate steering that I've almost ever felt in a vehicle. And with that many miles on it, and to have that good of steering, I knew it was a keeper. So right away, I was like, all right, we're gonna keep this rig. But some of the nice things about this particular vehicle that I didn't anticipate was it actually has this built-in feature, which was a lifesaver for us in our winter travels in Colorado. This button right here on the dash, located here, called AC rest. You can just tap it and you can set your climate here, and for up to 30 minutes or until the engine cools down, you can actually pump heat out of the dash on this vehicle. And I've never had any other vehicle that does that, and apparently it was kind of a one-off feature, but it's been an epic feature for parking and going places when it's cold out. It also is our primary source of heat when we don't run our diesel heater, which came later in the iteration of this build. So one of the things being that when I bought this van, it had 323,000 miles on it, it was a little bit higher mileage, so you know, things start to wear out at that mileage, and the seats were a little bit compressed, and so their foam wasn't very comfortable to sit on. Eventually, after doing a few van builds for clients, I got the opportunity to replace someone's front seats, and in doing so I added a second set of seats that are actually the same seats to replace our van's stock front seats, which were pretty worn out, the passenger seat especially. And what I did was I put these leather dual armrest seats, which I'm really happy about. I love the sort of computer armchair feel with the dual armrests. You really feel like you can plant in and, you know, sit there for a long time, because that's what you do with these vans. You know, with the long road trips, it's nice to have dual armrests. And then these seats actually have some nice features in them. They're heated and they have a massager feature. The massage feature was sort of a bonus, but I figured, you know, if we were going to go for new seats, we might as well go all the way. So we've added a massager feature, which has like 10 different massage features, and it's sort of a vibration, not like a kneading massage, but it's nice when you're sitting in the seat all day to be able to flip on the massage feature and sort of prevent yourself from numbing out, as you can definitely do when you're sitting on the freeway all day. Well, here we are at the back of the van, and this area is really the reason that I ended up purchasing a Sprinter van. I needed the extra space inside to treat like a garage. I actually have some key motivators here, and what those really are is the Brian Lopes van as well as the Jill Kittner van that Sportsmobile produced. I was very inspired by their layouts. However, what those vans were designed for was basically just like this, but it was designed to fit dirt bikes going in straight, like nose forward. And so I looked at those layouts and I said to myself, if I just turned the dirt bike around and I backed it in, I would have a much larger sleeping area and ultimately a more comfortable space to live out of. So this space is designed precisely to be able to back a dirt bike in and strap it down really easily, and then also sleep over the garage area.
The garage space has come in really handy for me too. When we lived in here, we had the dirt bike and 2 mountain bikes and 2 road bikes in here, along with all of our other gear and stuff that we needed to go along with those sports. It's just been so crucial. We throw so much stuff in there. I took a girls' trip to Whistler. There were 4 of us, and we were able to fit all 4 of our mountain bikes, 4 paddle boards, 4 yoga mats, 4 sets of rollerblades, just so much stuff into the van. And then you get to go into your comfortable living space. So I'm really stoked on this layout as well. On the door back here, we have these shoe holders. You can get these plastic shoe holders on Amazon, and they have been such an amazing spot for storage as well. We put all of our shoes, but we also put our gloves, knee pads, when we're snowboarding, our gloves and goggles. They store so many things. We have some hand warmers in here right now. It's been really crucial. So there are definitely little things that you can do to your van to make it more comfortable as well.
I designed this van to be set up for me, so I always have to have tool storage. So when I finalized the layout for the dirt bike to be backed in and the handlebars to clear, I realized I had some more room to add some more storage. So I built an overhead shelf, and then on that shelf I mounted 2 of the Husky toolboxes. They're like the mid section. So both of these 2 Durar toolboxes are awesome because I keep lots of tools in there and lots of little items. But I've also lined both walls of the garage with dual layer shelving. Ultimately, I moved my power system onto the driver's side shelving, as well as on the passenger side shelving. I've added a water heater, which has been a really nice feature to have, because we also have a shower quick connect mixer valve here on the passenger side that we can take showers outside the van with. And that's been a total game changer to actually have a water heater on board, and that runs off of electricity. But I've got enough solar on the roof to offset the electrical use as long as we have sunny weather. And that's sort of the whole key to my van life experience, has always been around solar and maximizing the amount of solar on the roof. I've got 600 watts on the roof, and I find it to be just enough. And if I didn't have quite that much, I wouldn't be able to really rely on the solar as well as I have been able to now. In my personal experience, I always say forego the roof AC, forego anything else besides a fan and solar panels on the roof. I personally think that roof racks are totally awesome, and I want to actually put one on this, but in the beginning, all I could do was put solar panels and a fan, and it served me really well. I definitely would be super open to adding to this vehicle and being able to add the lighting and everything that comes with the roof rack, and an awning wouldn't be too bad. Anyways, this garage is awesome. It works for me. I love the amount of storage I get out of this, and it's actually really been surprising how much utility I still get out of the front end. I have yet to find another van layout that really performs as well as this one. I've built 55 vans now, and I don't know if I would change anything with this. We need to add child seating, so we have to figure that out. But this vehicle can seat comfortably 6 people, 4 with no DOT rating. If you want to actually hang out, you can fit 8 people inside. You can be playing Xbox. We've got 600 watts of solar. I can fit 2 dirt bikes in the back with 2 gas cans and 2 mountain bikes all at once. Or we could probably fit 4 mountain bikes and 2 road bikes. Just the capacity for this thing is really limitless. The only thing we run into is we say, oh, well, it's only 2-wheel drive, and we might feel limited going certain places, but it's been enough to get us down the road. And you know, a real advantage of the two-wheel drive vehicles is the fuel efficiency. I still get 18 at 85. We use the green diesel engineering programmer, and we got rid of the EGR valve and reprogrammed the engine so it's got more power and it's pretty efficient. I know that the four-wheel drive vans can still get pretty comparable fuel mileage, but one advantage of the stock height two-wheel drive vans is just their fuel efficiency. And that's mainly going to be on the highway, because once you get up to momentum, you can really hold that fuel economy. But around town, you know, they're so heavy, they weigh 8,500 pounds, this one anyways. So around town, I don't get the greatest fuel economy, but on the highway, I still maintain a pretty reasonable fuel economy, and that makes it logical to go really far and do what you got to do. Anyways, I really love this van, and it keeps me warm at night, and the solar will recharge everything during the day and really allows me to live off the grid.
Let's go ahead and go inside, and I'll show you around the interior of our van. Welcome to the interior of our van. This van was really built out as kind of Tom's bachelor pad when I first met him. It's pretty dark in here, but it does give it this like cozy kind of cave vibe. We sleep really well in here, especially once all the window covers are in here, because it just stays so dark. We have lightened up a few things since I've met Tom. We've changed the floor. There was carpet in here before, and it just got really disgusting with the dogs. So we swapped it out for a natural wood look laminate plank floor, which has been so much easier to keep clean. It definitely has like Sedona red dust all over it right now, but it's super easy to sweep out, which is really nice. And we have also lightened up the drawer fronts on the kitchen galley by adding some natural maple wood. I would say the most bachelor thing we have in here is this big screen TV with an Xbox. We definitely watch a lot of movies. I know the TV is not for everybody. Some of our clients will have a TV installed and then they never use it. So it's really important to, when you're designing your van, think about what you do in your normal life and how that'll translate to van life. So on the driver's side of the van here, we have a futon couch. So this does turn out to a bed, which has come in handy. I do take this on some girls' trips, and we've slept up to 5 girls in here on a snowshoeing trip. We did utilize the front seats and put like a bed up along the front seats. And then 2 people slept on this couch, and then 2 people in the bed area. And I'll get to the bed area. It's not as small as it looks. Above me, we have our overhead cabinet. This was the first overhead cabinet Tom ever built. It is double tiered, which has been really great for us. There are some things that I would love to add, like now we do those really nice lifts that hold the doors open. The next cabinet that we do for ourselves will definitely have those. And we also do the angled edge now, which is really nice because we definitely have bumped our head on this a few times. We have a headliner cabinet in the front that we were really skeptical about putting that in at first because we thought we were going to hit our head there all the time, but surprisingly that hasn't been a big source of bonking. It does have the angled edge, which really helps, so there's no sharp edges, and it is fabric wrapped, which makes it a lot softer when you do hit your head on it, so it hasn't had any issues, and it's been such a great place for storage. That's where we put all of our blankets, our towels, jackets, like all of our soft goods really go in there. We do put, we have a bin for all the dog stuff also. So you can fit so much in that overhead above the driver passenger seat space. So that's been such a good use of storage. On the passenger side of the van, we have our kitchen galley. I personally would love for it to be larger, but our layout works really well for our needs. Everyone's needs are super different. So it might not be for everybody, but it's so perfect for our lifestyle and everything that we need. Our kitchen galley is 60 inches wide. And we do have a 2-burner propane stove and a sink with the closing glass lids. The glass lids really allow us to have a lot more countertop space, and they also serve as a backsplash when we're cooking in here. We love having the kitchen galley on the passenger side of the van, and this is our suggestion for all of the vans we build, because being able to crack that sliding door helps ventilate your cooking so well. It is a really small space, so air circulation in these vans is super important. So we love having the stove over there. It's also really nice when you're cooking to look out the sliding door, so we can have that open and it feels like I'm cooking outside in a way. When we're on longer trips, sometimes we'll set up an outdoor kitchen, which is great too. That's usually when we're more cooking for our friends. When it's just the two of us, we do all of our cooking on this stovetop. And on our countertop, we also have the base for our electric kettle. We use, and this is why we love having an inverter, lithium batteries, really the off-grid solar power system is the foundation of what Freedom Vans is, because it's what really enables that off-grid lifestyle. Being able to run an electric kettle every morning is so nice for, there's so many ways to create your morning coffee, but we pour the kettle water into a French press every morning. We have a cup of coffee. So we get a lot of use at that. It's super nice being able to leave out our base on the kitchen counter. And that's really the only thing we have up there. In our kitchen galley, we have a 3.2 cubic foot AC refrigerator. So we do need to use the inverter to run our refrigerator. It is super nice to have DC so you can turn off the inverter and just save some extra power. For us, usually lasts us 4 solid days of food before we need to stock up. I personally think it's the perfect van size. We also have it, and I think that this just gets lost in translation a little bit, the way that we have the refrigerator. I know that I talked about this in that we did this with another van and people were really confused. The way that the refrigerator opens is it opens up towards the sliding door, and it actually can open a full 180. So we can open it up when we're standing at the sliding door, and it's super easy to load it up, to grab a beer, to grab things from inside, and also or from outside, and then also when you're inside of the van, it's really nice when things are closed up that you can access it without cutting off anybody, so people can still move around, because the doors of the refrigerator are against the sliding door. Let's talk a little bit about kitchen storage, because what I've found working with clients is that and everyone's needs are so different. Some people need a lot of storage, some people need a lot less storage, but I'll just go into detail for what works for us. We have 4 kitchen drawers in our kitchen galley. The top one is our silverware drawer. The middle one, which is the largest drawer, is all of our cooking gear. So we have a couple of cast iron pans. We have all of our plates, bowls, strainers, all of that kind of stuff. We've gotten a lot of collapsible stuff, which is really nice to fit in there. It's great to utilize the space. And underneath there, we have a drawer that is dedicated to our toiletries, and then one that used to house our laptops, and now we just have random books and Tom's Xbox games and stuff in there. And so we call that our electronics drawer. And then below that, we have our gray water storage. We also keep our water fill hose in there. And then to the right of there, we have a drawer or a cabinet that was specifically built around our dog food storage. So that's kind of one of the bigger items that we have to store in our van. So it's really great to have a dedicated space for that. As far as storage goes, we do have more storage underneath our couch also. One other thing I forgot about the kitchen galley is the space where the sink is. You have a little bit of space in front, so we typically incorporate a spice rack, and it's so nice to have extra spices to cook on the road. It really makes van meals, it brings it up that extra notch. So that spice rack has come in super handy. Back to the couch storage, underneath our couch, and this is something that we haven't really incorporated into other vans, but is something that works, a system that works really well for me, is that we have bins that go underneath our couch. And I have a bin for my clothes. We have a bin for our dirty laundry. We have a bin for more kitchen stuff. And then there's also space to fit like whatever shoes we're using, we'll put in there. Tom keeps a pair of slippers. He's like all about the Van slippers. I love Van slippers too, but Tom's like really a slipper man. So we definitely have a place for slippers under there. If we buy like a box of beer, we'll put the box of beer under there. There's just a little bit of extra space for extra things we need as well, which has been really nice to have. And then the bins make it so easy to, when you're unloading the van at the end of a trip, just bring your stuff in. So we have like all of our perishable food and my clothes and dirty laundry come in those 3 bins, which is like what we need to unload. And then it makes it super easy to reload for trips. So our van's really always ready to go. For like longer trips, like this 6-week trip, I spent a couple of hours just like really detail cleaning it out and organizing everything. But for the most part, like everything's in here, and we just have a couple of bins that we bring in. In our overhead storage, we use one drawer is like our pantry. This is where we keep our food. The above one, we keep random kitchen appliances. So our French press and kettle go in there, our extra propane bottles. We can actually fit a lot more into that drawer. One thing van life has taught me is to really minimize. So it's really nice to not overload this space and to have extra space to grow into on your road trip. In these drawers, we have our clothes. So I have the bin underneath the couch. I definitely bring more clothes with me. I have as many clothes for the 6-week trip as I did when I lived in this van. And when I lived in here, I did swap out clothes a little bit seasonally. I had a storage unit for the first year. I ended up cleaning all of that out, and then I just had a couple of bins at Tom's mom's house. I'd bring in my winter jackets in the winter and more summer clothes during the summer. So it was really nice to have a place to have a couple of bins and be able to swap out clothes that way. That worked really well for me. And then Tom also has a drawer for clothes. When we lived in here, we did that a little bit differently. That underutilized kitchen space I used for clothes, and then I had a bin, and Tom used both of these for clothes. He's definitely way more minimal. He could like wear the same t-shirt for 3 days and call it good. So he doesn't need as much as I do. Moving into the back of the van, we have a really small bed space, and I know people are going to be like, oh my God, how do you sleep in such a small space? And there's a couple of ways that we do this. We have a 6-inch memory foam mattress. We have tried an 8-inch mattress in here. We've done like 2 mattress pads in here, and by far my favorite, most comfortable option has been the 6-inch memory foam. So that's what we do for all of our van conversions when we have a lofted bed, is the 6-inch memory foam. I personally really like, I'm a side sleeper, so I'm more of a soft bed type of person, and the 6-inch memory foam has been really great for that. It's actually softer for me than the 8-inch, which ended up being a little bit more firm. The mattresses themselves come in soft, medium, firm, so there's a spectrum there. If you're someone who sleeps really hot, it might also be really nice to switch to a latex mattress. It's super easy to cut down and put into a van as well. And they also come in plush, medium, or firm. So I guess the bed was really designed for Tom and his dog Moby, our big lab that passed away this July, because when we lived in here, it was like Tom, Moby, and I were the ones that slept in the bed. Cleo loves sleeping on the couch. It's just under full-sized width, so just under 54 inches, I would say. And the length, we do not have any sort of indented panels. Our bed is actually higher than most of the beds we built because it's built around a dirt bike rather than mountain bikes, which is most of our vans are more built around bikes. So our vans typically have a 36, the platform starts at 36 inches. This one starts at 40 inches, which you're even higher on the indentations in the van, so you can't really indent into the walls up there like we do in some of our vans. And it's not the right dimensions to add flares, or it just wouldn't make sense with this specific layout. Tom designed it so he actually sleeps at an angle because it is 76 inches from corner to corner. And that works really well for him, the way that he sleeps. And then I like am super happy just like crunching up into a little ball when I sleep. I'm a side sleeper, so it's not a big deal. So I really don't need that much bed space. Every now and then I'll sleep on my back and stretch out, and I sleep perfectly side to side. So we have more than enough space. I mean, it's definitely nice to have extra bed space. So we did end up eventually adding this bed extension, which makes it a full length bed, lengthwise 60 inches wide. So we have larger than a queen, just under a king size up there. And that's great when like both dogs want to sleep up there. I'm sure it'll be great when we have a baby. So like we could just have a big family comfy, like super cozy bed set up that way. We used to have a pad, a mattress pad for the extension, but I didn't really like carrying it around. It just took up a lot of space. So we actually just put pillows and like blankets and soft stuff on the bed extension, and that works for us. But it definitely would be more comfortable with the mattress pad. The last thing that I want to talk about, because I see this come up a lot in questions and comments on these videos, is what we do for the bathroom. And this is so different for everybody, so different for like every phase in life. I know like how I feel now might be different than how I will feel after I have this baby. And like already being pregnant, I feel different than I did before. Our sink empties into a 5-gallon gray water bucket, and we use that bucket as our toilet also, which works really well for us because it saves a lot of space. I mean, it's like a simplified portable toilet, basically. It's also really easy to clean out and bleach, so we don't have to worry about molding or like any sort of bathroom smells in our van, which is why we really like this also. It's just so easy to clean and to empty. I mean, really, I probably use the bucket the most to pee in when we're on long drives and Tom doesn't want to pull over for me. That's been happening a lot now that I'm pregnant because I need to pee like every 20 minutes. So he's just like never wants to pull over for me anymore. So it's been so great to have it in those situations. If we're like sleeping in a more public place where we can go pee outside, it's really great for that. Tom usually uses like some sort of jug, although that was more so when we lived in it full time. Now, he really just pees outside all the time. Even at our house, he always pees outside. Tom, no need for a toilet at all. We do prefer to find like public restrooms when we have to go, number 2, when we have to poop, or digging a hole if we're out in nature. That is our preferred method. I personally don't really want to be in a van where Tom poops because it's just not that comfortable and cozy. But we have had to use it for an emergency once. We were on the top of a mountain at the beginning of the bike race, so there were tons of people around and the bathrooms were closed. And Tom basically just put double-bagged trash bags into the bucket and took it into the garage space, which was really nice for me. So this system has worked really well for us. I see a lot of people commenting like on our client videos more so like, oh, they have kids and don't have a bathroom, like they're in trouble. Most people have some sort of emergency toilet situation. I know another popular one is just having like a yogurt container, and that's really easy. That happens on boats a lot. So there are so many solutions. Definitely super nice to have like a full-on bathroom, wet room, if that works for your layout. Everyone's needs are so different. As far as showering goes, now that we have the electric water heater, I feel like I'm like way cleaner on this van trip than I normally am. For when we lived in it, we didn't have the electric water heater. We had a solar heating system on our roof. There were these tubes. The downside of that is usually for us, I guess, usually we take a shower at the end of the day after we've been like biking and doing all of our activities. And by then the sun's going down and it's always cold, or we're like in colder climates, and that just like wasn't functional for us. We did at one point have like a shower bag where we would just, it was like a solar shower bag that you just leave in the sun all day. And then you get back to camp and you use that. That was pretty good. It ended up leaking on us like after 6 months. So by far the electric water heater, taking hot showers, like I have so much gratitude for that. And just being in nature and taking a shower is like the greatest thing ever. Finding water can be a struggle. We have a 35-gallon water tank. We've gotten really good at having eyes for spigots around town. So that's typically how we fill on the way. Hannah actually just told me about this app called iOverlander, and they tell you where you can fill for water. So I've definitely been, while in Sedona, taking more showers because I know that there's a spigot in town that advertises free water. So we'll be able to fill up our water system at the end of this. The 35 gallons, when we're living in here full time, 2 large dogs, 2 humans, cooking all of our meals inside, typically lasts us 6 to 7 days. So around day 6, we're usually looking for water. So we covered bathrooms, storage. Those are like the things, those are the comments that I see the most. We always talk about what we're gonna do in our next van, what platform we'll use. We're the biggest fans of the Transit and the Sprinter. We'll definitely go all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive for the next van, but we kind of want to see, we want to push this van, see how long it will last. I love that it has 400,000 miles and it runs like a champ. Like, this van is so reliable and it's a beast. I don't know. We love this van so much. We have a couple of Astro vans also, which we also love, but for full-time cooking and camping, this is definitely the most comfortable. It's the most built out for us. Those have been great for more like shuttling mountain bikes and all of that. We are total van people, if you can tell. We have we love vans for everything and all these different phases in life. We covered so much today. I want to make sure that we covered everything and gave you all the information. Please feel free to ask us questions. It's super easy for us to talk about our personal van. Hannah's been sitting here for hours now just listening to us ramble. So please feel free to reach out with questions. I know everyone's needs are so different, and I do think about that quite a bit. We have solutions for all walks of life and all different needs. And we really just like to work from our experience. Again, our mission is really to enable this off-grid lifestyle. It's brought so much freedom to our lives. So we love that we can offer that to our clients also. Thanks so much for following along. Maybe we'll give you some updates when we figure out what we're gonna do to incorporate a third seat in here for a car seat with a baby. Feel like we got the sleeping dialed, but we have to figure out the car seat situation. And if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them, because Tom and I are on very different pages right now about it and what is safe and proper for a newborn baby. But we're so excited to use this van for our family. One more note, as you see, Moon is super dusty. We changed the fabric on our couch after a bear got into our van and spilt chai tea all over it to this Krypton fabric. And that was 4 years ago, and this fabric is so, we haven't really washed it very much, but it's like super easy to clean off with the dogs and everything. So we cannot recommend Krypton fabric enough. So easy to clean. When we do shampoo it, it will probably look pristine. Yeah, we love it. Bye. Thank you so much for following along.
Yeah, thanks for coming to check out our vehicle today.